Hello, and thank you for watching this regional forecast update for the Canadian Prairie. I'm Andrew Pritchard, Senior Meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. Well, temperatures are not warm across the Prairie provinces right now, 9 degrees below zero in Saskatoon and Regina, minus 10 in Winnipeg, minus 13 in Calgary this morning. As we look at the 3-day temperature anomaly average across North America, the coldest air right now socked in across Western Canada and the western United States. On the flip side of that, we have been very warm here in the Midwest. Again, temperatures have been anywhere from 20 to 23 degrees Celsius for highs here over the last 7 to 8 days. We set a record for the most consecutive days with high temperatures above 70 degrees Fahrenheit in the month of November here, where our office is located in Champaign, Illinois, right about there. So a big trough in the west, big ridge in the east. That has been the story over the last 3 to 5 days. And again, that's forced a lot of cold air in here on the heels of a lot of snow across parts of the prairie. So we look at the satellite picture here this morning, a lot of cloud cover across the prairie provinces. It looks like maybe the Winnipeg area has seen a little bit of sunshine early on this Wednesday morning, but that too will come to an end. Light snow falling across portions of southeastern Alberta and southwestern Saskatchewan. That's going to continue to kind of slowly taper off as we head through the day today. We can see that with the NAM model, precipitation forecast over the next few days. Again, here's what we've got this morning. Some light snow across southeast Alberta, kind of southern and southwestern Saskatchewan. We'll continue to see this upper level disturbance continue to move off to the east into the overnight. Some very light snow flurries will be possible in the Winnipeg area overnight, perhaps into early Thursday morning. Before we clear out, we get high pressure on the backside. Should be a lot of sunshine for us on Thursday, tomorrow. It should be a rather pleasant day, albeit still rather chilly across the region. As we come into Friday, we're going to get another little upper level disturbance making its way through. Not much moisture to tap into, so it's really just going to be adding some cloudiness to our Friday earlier in the day in the west and then later in the day here in the east. And then as we head into our Saturday, we're going to see another little system sneaking generally off to the south, bringing another little fresh coating of snow to southern portions of the prairie provinces. We'll talk about that a little bit more in depth here in a moment. As far as total snow here between now and Saturday at 7 p.m., we're talking about anywhere from 5 to 15 millimeters from the Calgary area across southern portions of Saskatchewan, and then maybe a trace to a couple of centimeters in southern Manitoba. Now, here's the jet stream picture right now. We're kind of maybe in a little bit of a lull here between very amplified patterns here with very strong flow. And what I mean by that here is you see the kind of the main energy of this last wave that's made its way through, pulling off across the Atlantic, across eastern Canada. But this is what we've got coming in here as we get into the weekend and next week. So if I put this into motion, we're going to have a little bit of a bumpy ride, perhaps, over the next 7 to 10 days. Not so much with precipitation, but potentially with our temperatures here. So as we head into the end of the week, here's our little disturbance generally making its way south into the Rockies here. So that's why we end up with just a light coating of snow across southern portions of the prairie provinces before this next trough begins to dig across the Pacific, forcing a ridge in advance of it here across western Canada. Across the prairie provinces, this as this storm system emerges here across the western Canada, across the Pacific Northwest, we could see some warming in advance of that. Of course, cold air coming in on the backside. That's the name of the game here, as the atmosphere tries to create balance here as we transition from summer into winter. So it's going to be a bit unclear here where the precipitation is going to be the heaviest, but it looks like the snow with this system will likely be deflected off to the north. We'll talk about that too in just a moment. But here's what happens with the height pattern, and this kind of shows the ridge a little bit more obviously as we get into early next week. So we get another trough digging in here as we head into the weekend. That one slides off to the south, bringing that light coating of snow to southern portions of the prairie. And then as the next trough digs and amplifies off the Pacific coast, that's where we get some ridging here across the Canadian prairie. Here's what happens with temperature anomalies then. I'm going to go ahead and pause this one and drag it back here again. Waves of cold air coming in here over the next 24 hours. Again, one more shot of cold air coming in right now. We'll moderate some as we head into the end of the week before that system slides off to our south, potentially bringing another little shot of cooler air. And then here we go. As the trough digs across the Pacific, the ridge is amplified across western Canada, across the western United States. So this could lead to a little bit of a warm-up here, at least temporarily, as we head into early next week. And of course, that depends on how much snowpack you've got on the ground. It's going to take us a little bit to eat into some of that snow. And of course, any snow that's left on the ground is going to mitigate some of that warm-up. So here's the precipitation forecast as we head through the next 10 days. And of course, we'll use low confidence when we look at some of the events here in the days 5 to 10 time frame. But first, we've got this light snow pulling off from west to east over the next 24 hours. Just very minor accumulations expected from that. Maybe 5 to 15 centimeters on the Cypress Hills, where the snow gets a little bit of a terrain influence there. And then we'll be quiet, dry as we head through our day on Thursday. A little light snow sneaks off to the south Friday into Saturday morning. This one then pulls away as we get into Saturday night. We'll be dry again on the backside here as we head into Sunday and Monday. Now we're amplifying the trough over across the Pacific, the ridge upstream here across the Canadian Prairie. That allows for the warm-up, and this also, it appears, is going to take much of the precipitation up and north of the Prairie. So this could, again, lead to a little bit of a warm-up and, as the system makes its way through, potentially not dump a big swath of snow on us, which would potentially be nice too, I guess, depending on where you fall on the snow-loving side of things. So here's what we've got. The next 10 days from the European operational model, just verbatim. Again, this is the remnants of our snow here over the next 24 hours, and then adding on the little light round of snow that we're likely to get here late Friday into the day on Saturday and Saturday night, again from west to east, from Alberta into southern Manitoba, talking about anywhere from 5 to 15 on the high side over the Cypress Hills, and then generally a trace to 5 centimeters here along and south of Highway 1. This is the snow corridor right now as the European model has it from our early next week system. That big trough off the Pacific, as it makes its way in, it's going to dump a lot of snow on the Rockies here across British Columbia down into the Cascades, across Washington and Oregon in the U.S., and then across the northern Rockies in the Pacific Northwest here, parts of Idaho and Montana. So it looks like a heavy mountain snow event, which is great. We'll continue to pack the snow onto the higher elevations, but it looks like it will not likely bury the Prairie, at least early next week. Total liquid precipitation over the next 10 days looks very similar. Again, just some light moisture expected here across southern portions of the Prairie, and then we will have question marks and concerns about this one. We'll talk about it more on Friday, see where we're at with some of the changes that might emerge with that. So here's your temperature roller coaster. In some places it's a bit of a roller coaster here, but -6 for the high today, 1 for the high on Thursday, and then 3 on Friday. So we do climb out of the basement just a bit. Here's the next 10 days in Medicine Hat. Saskatoon, a little bit more of a temperature roller coaster there, -8, -12, back up to -3, going back down, and then potentially back up here with that little early week warm-up. Same thing here in Regina, and then Winnipeg, here's your next 10 days. 0 for the high today, a bit cooler tomorrow as this little next shot of cool air works its way in. A little bit of a warm-up here as we head into the weekend. Cooler coming out of the weekend, a little warm-up potentially at Tuesday into Wednesday before we cool back down as we get into the end of next week. Have a great day. We'll talk to you again on Friday morning.